Today we have a 2022 Audi S5 Sportback. Now you may ask, what exactly is an S5 Sportback? Well, it's a performance-oriented version of an Audi A5, but not as hardcore as the RS model. The current generation entered the market in 2016 and it was facelifted for 2022 model year. Now, I rarely talk about the exterior design, but I have to admit, the A5 or S5 in this case is one of the most beautiful cars in the segment. The proportions are great and the design touches that distinguish the S5 from the regular model are very subtle. And that's what this car is all about, being subtle. But more on that when we get into driving impressions. Before we get this thing on the road, let's jump inside and talk about the interior space. Audi has always impressed me with their interiors, and the one in the S5 doesn't disappoint. All physical switches have nice click to them, the fit and finish is great, and the materials are just as expected in a luxury car. Very high quality on all touch points that matter. Now, the design may seem a little too boring and sterile, but if you like simplicity like I do, you will feel right at home. The ergonomics are great and it's extremely easy to figure out all core functions of the car. The cabin features two screens. Right behind the steering wheel you have a 12.3-inch Audi's virtual cockpit, which remains the best implementation of digital gauges in the industry, offering high resolution, quick refresh rate and good contrast. It's also very customizable. You can pick one of 3 different designs, display a full navigation map on the screen, or eliminate unnecessary information that it shows. The second one is a 10.1-inch infotainment touchscreen running newest version MMI. Unfortunately, with the facelift, the car lost a physical controller, which means you have to rely on a touchscreen and it can be challenging to use it while driving. But besides that, the new system is logical and has a clean graphical interface. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are obviously standard. The optional 705-watt Bang & Olufsen 3D audio system produces a decent sound quality, especially at higher volumes where there is no distortion, but I had to play around with the equalizer to get the most out of it. The front seats with adjustable bolsters and extensible thigh support offer a great balance of comfort and support, and I'm glad to see Alcantara inserts in the middle. If you opt for the Prestige model that I tested, you'll get 3 massaging modes for your backrest. Now moving to the back, being 6'2", I had no issues fitting behind myself. The legroom isn't impressive and headroom is a little compromised due to the sloping roofline, but I felt comfortable. You also get a 3rd zone climate control, heated rear seats and a couple of USB-A ports. Last but not least, the trunk. The Sportback variant being a liftback adds extra practicality since the hatch opens together with the window. You get 22 cubic feet of cargo space and 35 cubic feet after folding the back seat down, which splits 40-20-40. Alright, so that was the interior of the Audi S5. Let's take it on the road now and see how it drives. It only took me a couple of miles behind the wheel of the S5 to realize how refined it is in every single aspect. I'm talking about the suspension tuning, power delivery, NVH, and the overall driving experience. I also realized that the S5 is not necessarily all about performance. It's a Gran Turismo in the first place. The suspension does a fantastic job filtering all road imperfections, and the S5 is very compliant over any road surface, even with 20-inch rims that were fitted on my tester. The interior is well isolated from the road noise, and my friend who lives in Germany confirmed that you don't feel anything, even at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour or 160 kilometers an hour, as he said. But the real question is, how does the S5 behave when driven aggressively? Well, on the curvy back road, it's very satisfying to drive it and it puts a smile on your face. Thanks to quattro all-wheel drive which splits torque 40-60 front to rear, the car feels very neutral and balanced, but I did notice more body roll than I expected, and the suspension is not firm enough if you want to drive it hardcore. Same with steering. It doesn't provide much feedback and feels a little numb, but my tester was missing an optional variable ratio steering. Also missing was the S Sport package, which includes adaptive dampers, sport differential and bigger brakes, so that might change how the car behaves when driven aggressively. Now onto the powertrain. The days of naturally aspirated V8s are gone, so the current generation S5 is powered by a 3-liter turbocharged V6, delivering 349 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. Even though I do miss the all-good V8, the single turbo V6 in an S5 feels like an NA motor being very responsive, providing linear power delivery with plenty of low and mid-range torque, and returning reasonable fuel economy. 21 miles per gallon in the city, 30 on highway, and 25 combined. An 8-speed conventional automatic provided by ZF is buttery smooth and with its quick shifts matches the responsiveness of dual clutch transmission, but being a torque converted unit eliminates the jerkiness associated with DCTs. Now let's not forget about the safety features, which are important nowadays. The Prestige model that I tested comes with an automatic braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control with traffic jam assist, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic alert, head-up display, front and rear parking sensors with automatic braking, and a 360-degree camera. Typically for Audi, the safety suite works very well and isn't intrusive at all, so I always kept all the systems on. I also can't forget about the Matrix LED headlights with laser light. They provide an incredible light output, and if you do a lot of night driving, you will really appreciate them. So that was the Audi S5 Sportback. We covered a lot of things, so let's jump to the conclusion and summarize everything. Audi has always done a great job of balancing the daily driving aspect and a fun factor of their S cars, and the S5 Sportback is a prime example of that. They understand that 90% of the time this thing is gonna be used as a daily, but if you want to have a little bit of fun, the car will let you do that. As I said before, look at the S5 not as a pure performance car, but as a Gran Turismo that has a solid drivetrain with a decent amount of power, well-balanced chassis, and is very practical for its size and purpose. Pricing for the S5 Sportback starts at $55,300 for the premium model and $64,200 for the Prestige trim. My tester, being a Prestige with black optics package, was priced at roughly $67,000. If you wonder how I would spec out my Audi S5, click the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.